All right, it's another Wednesday night. You finished a long shift at the office. You've come home. You're sitting down, relaxing. You're behind your keyboard. You're firing up your Google. And this time you are going to do it. You are going to look for how to make money online. And you're going to figure out how to create an income stream that comes into your house so that you can quit that job and you don't have to be a slave to your alarm clock at 6 o'clock in the morning. One of the things that I've heard over the years is that people don't necessarily feel like they're a slave to their job or a slave to their lifestyle, that they feel like they're a slave to that alarm clock when it goes off first thing in the morning. And the quality of their life would change drastically if they weren't stuck on a fixed schedule that meant that they could only get a certain amount of hours of sleep, or they couldn't stop when they needed to and take a nap, or that they couldn't take the day off and they couldn't be flexible in the way that they really wished that they could, which is one of the main attractions toward coming into this online laptop lifestyle. Now, what we want to talk about in this podcast is the moment you start looking for something that looks like it might fit your personality or it might be a viable way for you to make an income, you start reaching out into the internet, you start looking for information, and immediately you'll start to notice that the same faces and the same advice will pop back up at you. The same people will be these already established self-branded gurus discussing the thing that it is that they know about. And so this is interesting to me because I will sometimes get caught in the funnel of whoever it is that's trying to draw in that person with that particular interest. And I will start listening to them to hear what they have to say. And what I want to talk about in this podcast is not whether or not, we're not going to sit here and discuss what individual, what high profile individual is telling you the truth and is selling you something of quality from the background of their experience, or if it's just some fluffer nutter who's trying to sell you a shtick so that he can deepen his pockets a little bit. Both of those characters exist on the internet. And what we could do is we could go through face by face and picture by picture, and I could give you a rating from 1 to 10 on where they fall on the bullshit meter. But there's no guarantee that my judgments are completely correct on other people's work. But what I do want to do is I want to talk about the things that I recognize as absolutely true and correct in relation to the work that I've done over the past 10 to 15 years while I'm doing my online internet commerce. So there are some things that I hear over and over again with some of these sort of top popular gurus that I know they know what they're talking about. And I know that they've gone through the actual work and the evolution of the learning curve to get to where they are. There are things that they say, and it's not necessarily in the point that they're trying to make. Sometimes it's in the subtleties that they're talking about, or the conversations that they don't want to entertain and don't want to discuss because it's a waste of their time. And when I hear these things, I know this person has done the work. I know this person knows what they're talking about, and I know this person is trying to be honest when they're communicating, compared to someone who is new online. They just found this sort of JV Zoo stick. They just discovered the concept of internet marketing, and they're going to tell you all about it because they just read a couple of blogs over the weekend, and they're regurgitating some information for you. There's a fair chance that that information will be pretty lame and you might be wasting your time. And if there's one thing that you can do on the internet, it's waste a lot of time. So, online money-making guru spiel number one. The first thing that always stands out to me that I catch every single time is when someone goes from the thing that they're trying to teach you to a concept of personal development. So personal development is something that we have to work on all throughout life. It may or may not be related to business. Personal development, your personal character will affect everything you do in life. But when you're paying for someone to teach you how to do a business or something specific and effectively and efficiently, that person might run out of information after a while. They might not have more to offer you and give you. Well, that's not good for them if they're trying to upsell you, if they're trying to cross-sell you, if they really want to keep your interest, if they want to keep you engaged because they've got something coming up the pike later on, and they start talking about your, money management and your passions in life, and it's time to take a rest and take care of yourself, and now it's time for me time, and this is how I relax. You can do all that stuff on your own. You don't need a guy on the internet to teach you how to be a better person and how to be happy in your life and how to balance things out. You can join a lodge, you can volunteer at a club, you can go talk to your mom. All of those things are true, but that person is filling you with fluff and they're taking up some of your time. The moment I hear a person deviate from this is the skill I'm trying to teach you over toward Let's talk about character development, personal development, and some other financial investments I do over here on the left. I immediately become suspicious that they've run out of material. And I see a lot of them doing it, actually. I see a lot of them doing it. Concept number two is someone getting you riled up and excited to join whatever it is that they're trying to get you to do. And by the time you're excited and by the time you're ready to say yes, you don't know what it is that they do. This happened to me on two occasions when I was younger, and this was in the real world. One time I was living down in Florida. I was a teenager, older teenager, and someone had brought me to one of these hotel conference things where a guy stood in the front for a little while. He was selling a phone service. It was called Excel at the time. And he had an entire strategy and pitch on how to get all your friends to sign up for this phone service. And it was this MLM scam. I don't know if it was a scam. I don't want to speak to that, but I suspect it was a scam. And you were in this sort of Christmas tree residual commission based situation. And he talked about it for just a few moments. It wasn't completely clear how you fit into that as the person he was pitching it to, but you knew that he once was bouncing checks and now he was living in a picture of a house. You didn't really know whether or not he lived there, but he showed you a great picture of a house that was his dream home, and the entire crowd is becoming euphoric and happy, and everyone's smiling and ready to sign up, and people are signing things everywhere. And I remember walking out saying to the lady who brought me, who was a next door neighbor, saying, I guess we work for a phone company now, but I don't know what it is I'm supposed to do. And that euphoria, I walked out of that office room or that hotel lobby, and that euphoria waned after a little while. And the excitement was absolutely ecstatic. And although I was too young to know that I was supposed to jump in and sign up for something, there were dozens of people who were immediately ready to go out and work and sign over their firstborn kid. So the thing that really stuck out there, and this happens, it still happens, and people still fall for it, is that someone would bait you with a concept of you making a lot of money, you getting rich, you being absorbed into this life of luxury, and you don't know what the product is. Now, this happened a second time, also when I lived in Florida, and I was young. I had shown up for a job interview in the newspaper. The newspaper was very ambiguous about what it is that one would be selling. It was just a sales job. And they take you in for an interview, and for 20 minutes, a lady behind a desk pitched me a brochure of these beautiful homes, real estates, and Florida pools. And I thought, wow, this is absolutely terrific. As soon as I start selling the thing that it is you want me to sell, I can live in this place like you. And of course, when you're 20 years old, you believe someone when they say that that's a possibility, because why not? Well, this lady was asking me to be a Kirby door-to-door vacuum cleaner salesman, to which I said, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. And of course, she reminded me that there was a brochure of a gorgeous house right there. And if I was a vacuum cleaner salesman, in the way that they said vacuum cleaners were in such high demand, $2,000 vacuum cleaners, I also could live in that house. So I didn't take that job because I didn't see that that was going to be something that would work out for me, and also I wasn't interested in hauling a vacuum cleaner down the street door to door for long hours out of the course of my day. And I ended up getting a job as an alligator wrangler. Do you know in the state of Florida you have to be 19 years old to get a job as an alligator wrangler? I was 3 weeks shy of my 19th birthday, got that job and pretended like I couldn't find my ID. And when they asked me for my ID at 2 weeks, I said, here's the thing. I'm not 19, but I'll be 19 later in the month. And they said, okay, that's great. Come back when you're 19 in a few weeks. But by then I had a job waiting tables at a restaurant that had paid more. And of course, to a 19-year-old kid, what's more important? So the point being is when I showed up for a random sales job out of the newspaper at the time. Of course, you might find this on the internet now, but when I showed up for this random sales job, I was excited. I was being baited into a state of euphoria. I was being sold to be a person who would work for them, and I didn't know what it was that was being pitched to me. as opposed to the alligator wrangler job, which I knew exactly was the first moment I walked through the door because I had to sign all of the liability paperwork to go along with that job. Number three, whatever someone is trying to get you to do to build your business model online, when they describe it as a science where all the gears have to fit together in order to work, I immediately hear bells in my mind, ding, ding, we have a winner. This person knows what they're talking about. You could have two individuals who put up two retail stores. Let's say, for instance, you're selling handmade cloth baby diapers, and two people are going to sell the exact same product, only they're going to have their own diaper line, and Mama Jane is going to embroider little blue hearts on her diapers, and Mama Bo Peep is going to embroider little initials on her diapers, and they're going to put up the exact same website. Well, if Mama Jane has taken the time to build her description pages and put everything together in exactly the same way with a template and a model of something that previously has already been proven to work, Mama Jane is going to sell her product. If Mama Bo Peep wants to be creative, has no idea what she's doing, and she just starts going to work and her website looks like a rainbow, a collage of artistry, Mama Bo Peep might not be successful. Sales is a science. So this translates to some of my very first eBay stores where I tried to sell a few things online. It's hit or miss. It was a crapshoot. And then what I did was I started to back engineer and analyze exactly the people who were selling, who were the most successful sellers on eBay. And then I started to pick out the commonalities they had in their listings. And I built my eBay description pages exactly with a template in mind from the highest selling products that were similar in that category. And my eBay store ended up bringing me in about 10 grand a week back in 2007, and that worked quite well for quite a while before eBay changed its business model. So I always listen for someone who's trying to explain that you need to do something exactly in a certain way, don't deviate away from it, and they're trying to get you to get the gears to fit so the thing that they know works. And I pay attention. It doesn't fall on deaf ears when someone says, you must do this project in this way in order for it to work. You must do your marketing in this order in order for it to work. You must create these pages that look like this. There's a ton of science that's been done over the past 10 years that I didn't have access to 10 years ago that we know now about consumer habits. And those things, you don't have to reinvent the wheel when it comes to learning how to do that. But when a person says to you, I know what I'm doing, do it like this, pay attention to what it is that they're saying. So those are the three things that I listen for when I'm lending my ear to someone who's trying to pitch me their idea or someone who's trying to convince me that they know what they're talking about. And you don't have to say, oh yeah, this famous guy does it just like that, or this famous guy is blowing smoke up your ass. I don't want to single out any individuals. I just want to tell you those three bullet point concepts. Not to say that any of those things can't be loosely covered. A person can talk about personal development, by the way. Maybe that's part of their shtick. Maybe personal development is part of the thing that they're trying to sell you. It's not that I'm going to turn my shoulder or I'm not going to negate the value of what someone has to say if they cover that topic. But I do pay attention to the pattern and trend in their language to see if they're using other things to fluffen up the material they have because they're trying to convince me and they don't have a robust sense of their own, the thing that they're selling you. So good luck with what you're looking for. We're going to cover many more topics, lots of tips and tricks on how to start building your business base, on what it is that you need to look for. If you're curious about this topic, please subscribe to my channel because we've got more things coming out. I've got a ton of information I'd like to share with you guys, and I'm going to be pouring it out as it comes to me and as I realize that these topics are important if you're trying to start up from the very beginning. Good luck.